And good evening, guys. Welcome to the Cofi Network. Tonight we have something I think it's been quite good and should be quite informative. And I'm going to hand over now to Mari, who's going to give us some insight into social media and how to use it properly for a business.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you, Rob, so much, first of all, for this opportunity. I'm very excited to present today, and hopefully guys can take away. And yeah, so first of all, I would like to talk about myself briefly. So my name is Mari-Liis, and I am the founder of social media agency called Vusko Socials. I'm originally from Estonia, but I've spent over a decade living and working in the UK. So I have 10 plus years experience working freelance in the online marketing world. I worked with various different small and medium-sized businesses from from various different niches. So I've worked with luxury e-commerce businesses, beauty e-commerce businesses, to online language classes, to online commercial cleaning services, to online communities and masterminds. And if anyone has worked with startups, which I'm sure most of you have, so you get brought on as a marketing expert, but you end up doing everything really. So yeah, with my own agency with Vusko Socials, I've pivoted towards something more close to my heart. So I am now helping female entrepreneurs build their personal brand online. And as someone that has struggled herself with visibility, I would hate to see another amazing, talented female struggle to put her greatness out there. And the interesting trick about this is that when you're building your personal brand or online, you are actually in control of the narrative. And yeah, we all have a personal brand, but I think this is a moment to be more intentional with yours. So yeah, enough about me, and I am here to talk about Instagram. So I thought would be a fun way to do a bit of a Instagram evolution. So Instagram started at 2009, and what was Instagram like in 2009? It was new, it was very experimental. People posted mundane daily moments, their foods, their dog, their friend, their mother. Mostly were using very heavy filter. I certainly was. And every post was a hard launch to all the followers. So come mid, so 2015 to 2017, Instagram stories were invented. So that was 2016. And suddenly all those mundane daily moments were hidden in the stories because we got the algorithmic feed, which started to feed us all these perfect, so to say, perfect people and politics, and suddenly we didn't feel as confident posting our food post next to war. And but that was the beginning of the curated content feed. So we started posting only the highlights. And then fast forward to 2020s, now the feed is dominated by the algorithm, which has led to the rise of professionalized creators, because nothing really cuts through. You really need to know how the platform works, what the users wish to see and move along with the evolution of the platform. So no more casual posts for your everyday person. But I think everyone should still build the personal brand on Instagram. You just need to do it right. You need to know um, the tricks and be part of the algorithm and make it use for yourself. So how to make how to stand out in that noise now? So Adam Mosseri, he's the head of Instagram. He says that the algorithm that just feeds us new content and we barely can even see the people content that we're following, it's actually designed to help smaller creators break through, because it is aimed to improve discoverability beyond the follower count. So if you learn the tricks how to create content that actually cuts through the noise, it is so powerful. Obviously, he says that original content is more valued than a repost. So you can't just take a post that's working very well for someone and repost it. So you definitely can take tips and tricks, which actually is the way to do it. You should imitate. You should learn why certain posts did well and try to imitate. And then what Adam also says is that stories, so basically stories and shares is all that Instagram is valuing now, because we are in the era of a silent follower. So, which means people don't really like and comment anymore. So people are following and they when they like something, they share it to their friend. They want to talk about it in the DMs. So you really need to think about, when you're creating the content, how to create the content that makes someone want to send it to their friend. So yeah, if you think, okay, I want to start with Instagram, or let's say you are already on Instagram, but it's not really working out for you. So where do you start? Okay, I have here start with your story, but actually, first of all, you need to start with your target audience. You need to really think, who am I going to target with my product? You can't say, okay, I am targeting men and women between the ages of 20 to 58, or yeah. It's you're talking to no one. You need to make it very clear, okay, who is my ideal client? You need to know where they like to spend time. What are the deepest desires? What are their biggest fears? And only then can you start creating content that really resonates to these people. So yeah, it's if you make a decision, don't be afraid that, okay, now this is permanent. Like you can pivot if you find that the target audience that you chose is not really it, and you think, it's someone else. You can do that transfer, but initially you need to have your target audience persona. And okay, so now you know the person you're targeting. So now they want to know, okay, why should I listen to you? Why should I buy that book from you? Why should I buy that high ticket or offer from you? So you want to start creating you want to lead with your story. You want to make that story the core of your Instagram profile. You wanna make a reel or a carousel about your story, and you wanna pin it to the top. So your origin story, yeah. So your story can be your origin story, how you went from when you went from a problem that your target audience is having to the transformation. Or your story can be accomplishment. You achieved something that's absolutely out of this world. You've done something extraordinary, and you want to really flex. You want to share the hard facts. You want to have the step-by-step breakdown, so that people, when they come to your account, they see, okay, this person, they've done it, and they have the proof. Or your story can be a challenge. You struggled with your target audience's pain points and the trauma you faced. But if you don't have the transformational story, or you don't have the accomplishments, or you don't have this live through trauma, but you have this amazing product that you just want to sell, so then you can also come up with a compelling point of view, or very a point of view that's a slightly, it's pissing off 80% of the people, and it resonates with your target audience, that 20-30%. So yeah, once you have your story, then you want to choose your content pillars. So you want to choose 2 to 3 content pillars, because Instagram needs to know exactly who to serve your content to. So once you've chosen your pillars, do not pivot. Like, keep your content within those 3 pillars. And there's a there is a fascinating strategy that I would recommend, to choose pillars that are quite opposites, and perhaps pillars that no one else, you don't see Instagram mixing. So for example, there is Instagram influencer, you can go and check her out. It's Bethan McKinley, and she's posting basically she's a young girl, she's posting political news, but she's doing it whilst she's getting dressed up. So she's mixing this style with political news. So that's a very great way to choose pillars that make you stand out in the noise. Hope that makes sense. And okay, now I would like to talk about the content funnel. So the content funnel, it really does exist. And the walkthrough of it is basically that the top of the funnel content is the content that attracts attention from everyone in the Instagram stratosphere, if I may say so. So it has to be content that it's obviously made with your target audience in mind, but you need to make it more approachable for the whole, basically entire ecosystem of Instagram. So basically, what I mean is, if my content is marketing, and I make a hook. Hook is what you use beginning of a reel to caption the attention of someone who's scrolling. So if your hook is Instagram funnel has not been the same, here's why. For a marketing person, that's very common sense. Yes, Instagram funnel, like, I understand. Okay, I want to know more. But for somebody that's, for example, a roofer, he's scrolling the Instagram, and he doesn't know what is funnel, most probably. So the hook needs to be. So for example, you can't even make a hook that's 5 tips to grow on Instagram, because it's still quite targeted. It's for a person that wants to grow on Instagram. But if there's a person scrolling the Instagram, and bear in mind, over 90% of people that are on Instagram are not actually content creators. So they don't really care how to grow on Instagram. So you really need to think about how to serve that 90% as well as your target audience. So the better way to say the hook would be Instagram is not the same platform we thought it was. So that's even for a person that doesn't really think about marketing. Is thinking, okay, oh wait, what is up with Instagram? So yeah, that's the top of the funnel content that's talking to a target audience, but it has to be serving and attractive for everyone, basically. Then you have the middle of the funnel content that's nurturing your target audience, that's literally serving the content to your target audience, the one that's following you, or the one that came from the top of the funnel content and he or she clicked on the Instagram feed and is now looking, okay, I want some substance now. That's the middle of the funnel content, where you, depending on your content, is it the very valuable content that you're choosing, or you are choosing to entertain, or is it more emotional connection that you're looking with to achieve with your followers? But the middle of the funnel content is the content why people stick around. And then you have the bottom of the funnel content, where you should really minimize that content, but it's basically soft selling. You put small call to actions to your accounts, to your posts, sorry. So you put, for example, you use ManyChat and you make a post and you say comment X, and then you get this micromagnet. You use this micromagnet to send them something of value to your target audience, and then in return they give you their email address. So you can then know for a fact that this person is very warm. I can now sell to them on Instagram, on over email. But I would stay away from the bottom of funnel content for a long time. I would genuinely just give value and entertain and just make people want to stick around. That when it comes to finally sort of, like your audience is such a fan of you that they're like waiting for something to come from you, some product or service, or if somebody's thinking, okay, so why would I then go through all this trouble posting if I can't even sell anything on Instagram? But it's, especially if it's a high ticket offer, if you keep entertaining or you keep giving them value, eventually it is for them common sense. Okay, like this person has given me so much, like I'm going to buy from them. And in terms of the content funnel, so for example, I can give you some stats from Metricool. So if you post once a week or less, you lose followers. So if you post two to three times a week, your account will grow. And when you post 7 posts a week, that's when real growth starts, because only 0.04 Instagram users are posting 7+ times a week. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but these are the stats. So taking this content funnel into consideration, I hope you guys are following me. So those stats that I just mentioned. So if you have to post 2 to 3 times a week for your account to slowly grow, so let's say 3 times a week, I can do 3 times a week consistently, because bear in mind, consistency is the number one thing. So whatever consistency you choose, make sure it's the one you can stick with, because you can always increase your consistency. But yeah, so let's say you stick with 3. If your account, your Instagram account is currently doing quite well, like you post content in a sense that you don't have strategy around your content, but it does get some comments, and your goal is to increase that engagement, you might want to keep the top of the funnel content one post of the week, and those 2 other posts are middle of the funnel, which is nurturing the already existing content, and you don't want to focus as much getting those new eyeballs on your content. But if, for example, you're a new account and you have no followers, you should prioritize the top of the funnel content. I would say 2, if not even 3 content a week should be top of the funnel content, especially if you have the story already pinned to the top of your account feed. You can be a bit superficial for the first few months, and then maybe do this nurturing content once every 2 weeks, for example. But yeah, for example, if you have an account, there is quite a lot of followers, but there's no engagement, you should really think about the middle of the funnel content, how to increase that engagement with the existing followers, how to spark the conversation amongst my fans, and really focus on the connection. So yeah, there's another comments strategy that I wanted to talk about. So if you're, especially if you're a new brand, but if you're already existing brand with existing social media following, this is still very great way to increase the followers, your brand awareness. So basically, choosing creators. So if you don't have your own personal brand yet, it is good to look for creators that you see have your target audience actively in the comment section whenever they post something. It's good to start prioritizing being active in those comment sections as well. Because greater audience actively reads comment section because they want to have their creator say something. So if you can start being part of the conversation that's happening underneath, the people start noticing you. So you need to go there, give value or entertain, be part of the conversation happening underneath in the comment section. So the best timing to post under a post of the creator you've chosen, or because you know you've done your research, 1-2 hours after posting to jump in the comment section and say something very witty, very clever. But if it's been already 24 hours or more, it's already too late. And the target audience, target the creators that are best to target are creators with 1 to 50,000 followers, because they are more active in the comment section compared to bigger creators. But to sum up, with content creation on Instagram, like I mentioned, it's about consistency. If you start with 2 posts a week and you keep going with 2 posts a week, it's amazing because, as I said, metrical metrics from 2025, they say that accounts that post 2 to 3 times a week, they grow. So if you consistently post 2 to 3 times a week, but you also experiment. So you can't, even if you discover a format that your audience likes, because once you start posting, the audience let you know. You can see from the stats what works well, what they like. You wouldn't know that before. You will only learn that from your audience. But even knowing what works, you need to keep experimenting. And it's not about jumping on the trends. It's about constantly trying to innovate and keep your audience curious and excited about what's to come. So yeah, so I wanted to make one example as well. Jaguar rebrand. I'm sure you guys have seen, some of you, I hope, have seen the Jaguar rebrand that caused a massive uproar on social media. So many people had so many opinions about it. And say what you want, but it got so many people talking. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to reply. And also I'll be leaving my link in the chat afterwards. So if somebody wants to have an Instagram audit, I would be happy to offer that and give some tips. So if you want to book a call with me,
Thank you, Mari.
yeah,
Put the
I
link
would be
in.
happy.
Put the link in the group, okay, so that everyone sees it. I've actually got a lot of notes down,
Okay,
okay,
great.
on that one, but I won't start. Does somebody else have any questions before I jump in?
Unfortunately, I've
I
just
I
lost
apologize.
ability.
I was so busy writing things down, I wasn't looking at the screen.
Yeah, with 20 minutes.
What I'll do, you should have texted me. Here's what I'm going to do is I help you out, Oana, because I think this is going to help. Right. So a quick synopsis is basically is posts, two pillars, one sort of businessy, other one sort of fun. Is that I'm thinking about, Mari? Because of the business owner, it's hard to do, isn't it? We can't be one or the other. We've got to try and be both, haven't we? At the same
Yeah,
time.
so you're, let's say you are talking about Instagram,
Yeah.
or let's say you are talking about business in general,
Yeah.
but you are really into knitting. So you can literally do content where you're sitting in a chair, but you might choose, okay, but just sitting home and knitting might be boring. I might want to take my knitting to some unusual places. So then there's knitting because people want to see what are you knitting, because eventually they start getting curious, like what are you knitting, because you're knitting all the time. Initially they might be just like, okay, why is this person knitting? Obviously bear in mind the content that they're actually sharing has to be very valuable. So the business tips that you're giving has to be like, okay, yeah, I need to listen to that person. But the knitting just adds intrigue. So that's basically product placement, because eventually they're like, okay, what are you knitting? Maybe you want to sell as well what you're knitting. But then the third pillar could be that I am taking my knitting to some exotic places. I'm knitting, in various different countries or some various different venues. So yeah, so it's an interesting play there. You can mix and match very unusual things to stand out, to make your business content stand out.
Okay. Sorry, Crystal's got a head up.
Yeah, sorry. I was having problems with my Zoom, so I missed half of your meeting. And then, yeah, but it sounds like from that point then, because my mentor said to me to do 50% social content, like personal content. So, you know, if you have a cat, for example, people might resonate with that. If you like to go out, eat at a certain restaurant, you know, things like that. I guess for maybe community building and then 50% business. So is that the kind of thing that you're kind of alluding to? Would that fit with what you're saying?
Yeah, so that those are your two pillars.
Oh, okay.
But I would get even, I mean, unless you want to keep sort of like part of it is the content that's valuable, and the
Yeah.
other part is just showing my lifestyle. So it's
Yeah.
lifestyle. It's not necessarily I am into food places, but it's just you
No,
showing.
yeah.
Like I'm not sure if you live in London, but you know, it's London is vast. You know, you could
Yeah,
have London as one of your pillars.
yeah. So that's kind of what I meant, not just we're just giving example. I don't know, cat and food places are just Instagram kind of things, you know, food and Instagram is just the first thing I thought of. So yeah, so I think okay, cool. Thank you.
I'm not sure if that makes sense because you can even choose, for example, that my three pillars are like I am very just I want to be just content. I'm just going to be all my content is my format. My content format is me just sitting. I'm not going to experiment with any location. I'm not going to experiment even with my looks. My three pillars are basically around my content. So you choose three different pillars that are all content, and it's still communicating for the Instagram. Okay, this is the person, you know, this is the content, and I know now who to serve the content to.
Okay. Sorry. Next question. Ola, you go.
Yes, thank you, Mari. Sorry, I'm late at the table, but I think I understand what you know what you meant with the three pillars. I have a question, however, in regards to reposting stuff, meaning like if I find a video informative or a video which is actually supporting so I'm a teacher, my style of teaching, and kind of like sometimes when people hear from strangers, they kind of like embracing it more than if they hear only from you. It makes sense what I'm saying. So if they see that what I say is also supported by someone else who is doing the same thing, or they explain from a different perspective why it's okay to do the things the way we do. Um, what do you think about reposting other people's posts to support your activity?
Yeah, I mean, definitely if you want to keep up with your weekly posting count, let's say you want to stick to your 3 posts a week, and you just don't have that week more than 2, like yeah, you can repost, but I'd say don't get in the habit of reposting because then it loses its appeal. You know, I understand if you post once in a while and you put a description underneath why it really resonated to you, you know, it's you know, it's understandable, but
Yeah. It's informative also for the parents who are looking for a teacher or some adult students. You know, when they see those posts, maybe I could easily, not easily because it's a time consuming, but you know, for me to do another video just to be myself in the video to talk about the same thing, it just makes my life easier if I already found it, just to share it with them to support that what I'm doing, what I'm saying, it's done by others as well. It's not me being crazy, if it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, it's once in a while, it's absolutely fine because let's say it is somebody that you really sort of look
Yes.
up to, and it really resonates with your content and with your target audience.
Yeah.
But like I said, in terms of the Instagram algorithm, it doesn't benefit your account. It's in fact, you know, if you repost, Instagram doesn't like the algorithm doesn't really use you reposting that video as something that they want to feed to new Instagram
Content.
yeah, like people that, where with the algorithm, it's all about discovering new accounts. So, this, bear in mind, is definitely only for the already existing
Yeah,
followers.
yeah, I wasn't talking from a perspective of algorithms. I was just talking about balancing the information you post, for people as a content on your page rather than the algorithms. Um, which
Yeah,
just your opinion
but
about.
to keep maybe your account more clean, and especially if you really go through a lot of work and effort to create, your own content, to make that stand out, maybe it's better if, for example, the mentors that you have and inspire you, you perhaps share them on Instagram stories, and then you tag them
As collaborators.
as highlights, and and then they're free to go and click there in your highlights to see, more information about, your inspiration, or um to add more activity on your account.
Mm-hmm. And one last question, because sometimes I post, let's say, on the personal page, and I have the teaching page because I'm using more Facebook. My customers are on Facebook really, and some, because when you post on Facebook, it's posted on Instagram as well. So sometimes I do post on my personal page, and I share from the personal page on my teaching page. Makes sense?
So you're sharing from Facebook.
Yeah. So
So
on
on
Facebook, you have
Instagram you have, sorry,
it's
yeah.
only about Sorry, because I missed.
Yeah.
Is it only about Instagrams, or is about social media in general?
Instagram.
Because Instagram only. Ah, okay,
Sorry.
okay, okay. Fair enough. Then no, that's it from me.
Uh, question. One of the questions I've got is this: is obviously you spoke about awareness, consideration, decision. Now, assuming I've been doing it all wrong completely, would you suggest I go back to the beginning and start with the awareness properly, and then try and do it from there? Because obviously, I just dived into the bottom end and went, "Yeah, let's go for it." So, would that be a good idea to go back and literally start again with the awareness part?
So you mean to start again with the whole
Literally,
process?
when I start posting, just going back to posting more things about awareness. Because obviously, if it's not
Mm.
working anyway, it's obviously not working. So I'm assuming at that point, I should just basically go back to route one and then start posting and just try and get awareness campaign going properly and run
What
that
is
for a while.
what is your current state of the account you're mentioning? So is it sort of you're lacking all sort of activity, or let's say your reels, they do get views, but there's no other sort of activity, because
There's
I need
activity,
to
but it
sort
wouldn't,
of.
let's just say it wouldn't start a fire. The
Mhm.
activity, it's very I'd use the word tepid at best of times. And only a few posts ever get people sort of like them or things. It's very rarely people actually write things on them as well. So it's that level of getting people to engage in the post you're doing. Because then once they're engaged, you can go to the next stage afterwards. It's getting that initial engagement.
Yeah, so for example, if I hear you correct, like you have some eyeballs on your account, it sounds to me it's more the middle of the funnel content, where you know, if you are clear on your target audience, but for example, if you're not too sure who is following you for what, you can even run some polls in stories and ask people, what sort of content would you like to see from me? And that would already give you some sort of indication why these people are following you. But if you already have some you know your target audience, then it's all about now figuring out, just going deep into the research of my target audience, like what is it that they actually struggle with the most, and what is the problem that I am solving for them. And keeping that in mind, I recommend start posting this nurturing content. And I would say nurturing content, perhaps if you're going with the cadence of 2 posts a week, perhaps one nurturing content and one sort of the top of the funnel to just get more eyeballs and get more sort of people coming in onto your feed as well. But if you're going with the 3 posts a week strategy, I recommend doing 2 nurturing posts and 1 top of the funnel content post. So you just need to start giving them some sort of entertainment. So for example, series is very popular right now, where people, they do part 1 and then it's like, come back for part 2 next week and then part 3. So figure out some sort of way to entertain those people, or give them massive value, just out of this world. They just come to your Instagram feed and they're like, yeah, I would even pay to be on this Instagram feed because it's so valuable. If you make those nurturing posts, those middle of the funnel posts on that level of certainty and expertise, it's for them no brainer. They want to follow along. They want to see, okay, what else comes from Rob. And then once Rob sells something, I have a book coming out, people are okay, yeah, everybody wants the book.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that made sense.
No, so as I'm talking to you, I'm looking at the Instagram page at the same time. And yeah, cool. Right. So do bits of 2. Okay. Okay. Now, one of the problems I think most of us have, and it's not so much knowing you got to post 3 times a week, it's posting things 3 times a week that are going to be interesting. It's always a hard thing, isn't it? Because you've got to do content, but you can only write so much about certain things. And if you're a comedian, it's great, but as a business owner, you're trying to promote people that would like your product. So keep them entertained it's a strange one, isn't it? It's what do I do? Do I go more about my product, or do I go more about things related to my product? Like, let's say, for instance, one of the music, which could she do like my top 10 classical records. And it's about, so even though it's about music, but it's not about what she does, but she's still talking about music at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So for example, if it's, let's say, personal brand, like if we're not talking about business account now, if it's a founder that's really willing to grow their personal brand and go with the founder-led approach for their business. So I'd say one of the most interesting ways to make people want to come back is literally document your life. Be as open as possible. Yes, you can curate. Obviously you don't need to show everything, but if you want, you can even show everything. But usually people curate some of it. But you start showing behind the scenes, some of your life, and then you place your product around in your videos. You show yourself using your product. Let's say you run e-commerce business. You show yourself packing your products. You show yourself, look, I have this order. I put in the order. Maybe you take your products for free for someone. You document. You show how you run, and you give these things to someone. That's one way. You just document, but you might want to start coming up with some more entertaining ways. Maybe you want to start interviewing people on the street. Just ask them questions that your target audience maybe want to hear, or ask them questions about your product. Hey, what do you think about candles? For example, if you sell candles, I think somebody was selling candles. You can ask, what do you think about candles? Or, more deeper questions, but, you can start thinking, for example, Red Bull. Yeah, Red Bull on their Instagram, they don't post Red Bull as the drink nowhere. They have their logo on people that are doing extreme sports. So I recommend thinking about some sort of entertaining way to just make people want to come around. So let that be you as who you are. You do something fun, and by the way, yes, I sell this thing as well. Or you can literally just show everything behind the scenes, how hard it is to run a business. Like today I'm doing, like, just be very open about the hardships of running a business. Or if you have, if you're a writer, you can post about the hardships of writing the book. Okay, today again I went and I had to write something, and no, it was the blank page, and you might want to shoot the B-roll, and it shows yourself doing that, or just you sitting behind the table and you're trying to write something, and it's just the thoughts that come into your head when you're staring that blank page. It's a way to emotionally, for example, create connection with followers.
Do you have a hand up?
Marie, oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, go on, Felicia, quickly.
Sorry, could I just ask something related to what Marie's just said now? So I know you said like make it different to what everybody else is doing. So I was doing exactly what you're saying. So showing all the hardships, all the things going wrong, all the mess, the candle wax all over the place, packing orders, reviews, all of that. But what I found was the people that are watching that are not necessarily buying. And I've been doing this for, I'd say a year and a half now, and I'm posting every single day, right? I'm not finding that those people are converting into sales. So they may be coming to enjoy themselves and, use it because they're unwinding and they're just coming and, having a watch and that sort of thing. But I can't see how those sort of posts are converting because they're not for me personally. They're not converting. So in essence, what I'm doing now is I'm kind of thinking of my social media as just a way for people to know I exist, that I am somebody and I am building a brand, but it's not helping in terms of the sales element. So I'm only like for my candles, like that's a great idea what you said, like interview people, smelling them and listening to what they think of them and stuff like that. But if it's not like with them being up in front of my candles, I'm not getting the sale. So regardless of what I show behind the scenes and how real I show, like I used to show myself at the bus stop with all the orders, taking it to the post office. I used to show all of that stuff. But I even showed like how we started the store. We painted it, set it up. I did the whole thing. And it just, yeah, it brought people to watch, but that was all they did. It was more just like entertainment value rather than, and then from a business point of view, you think to yourself, gosh, I spent all those hours doing all of that. What did it actually bring for me from a financial point of view? Do you know, what's your thoughts on that, Marie?
Okay, yeah, there's a few things here. Who is your target audience? Are you clear on your target audience, like the person that is passionate about your candles? So that's one.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
So once you know actually who is, my ideal client, the one that buys my candles, whether you go back and you talk to the people that have bought your candles, you ask them, where in what sort of touch point you decided to purchase from me. You do your sort of research, you collect all the data, and you can make some sort of conclusions from there, to see what actually brought in the sales, what part of the touch points. So then the second one is, how are the, like, do you have a lot of sort of like you mentioned that you're posting all the time, so would you say that these people that, like, you have a lot of sort of new followers coming and you have a lot of comments and...
Not really. I don't really get a lot of new followers unless I do like a giveaway or I do paid advertising where I'm looking for followers. And even then, I don't get necessarily that many, but I do get it if I do a bit of paid advertising. And then what I'll find is with it from an engagement point of view, it's just the people I know that engage. And, highly like there's a few, one or two that'll say something once in a while. But it's not a regular engagement. It's not lots of new followers. It's nothing major. If I was posting something and getting 10, 15, 20 people follow a month, I'd be like, yeah, fantastic. I'll keep doing this. But it's not on that level. And definitely engagement is super, super, super low. Like it's all your friends and family and everybody else will say something, but that's they're not my customer. They're just being nice. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'd say definitely, really dial in on your ideal client. So you start creating content that's a bit controversial for majority of the people, and it starts to resonate with your target audience. So you might want to become more opinionated as well. I mean, the fact that you are already posting, your whole journey. I recommend also doing a research strategy that I use. It's basically gold, silver, bronze technique, where I suggest surfing around on internet and finding accounts that don't necessarily have to be in your niche. Don't necessarily need to be selling candles, but maybe you'll find account, like I just think about this electrolyte brand that everybody's talking about on social media. I'm not sure if you've heard. It's called Salt. It's not like salt, but it's with you, salt. So they are amazing at creating this behind the scenes content. But besides them, I recommend surfing around looking for content creators that do the kind of content that resonates with you, that you just look at their account and you're thinking, okay, I want to do that kind of content. I like their format. I'm not saying you need to change your format, but just so you think, okay, maybe I need to switch up some of my content. So which kind of format would I want to go with? So if you find a influencer that you look at their content format and you think, okay, yeah, I want to post like that, at least maybe one of my 3 posts. And you then compare, you look at that influencer and you do what I call gold, silver, bronze method, where you take that influencer sort of baseline sort of videos, reels that are doing just sort of, when you look at the overview, it's doing sort of the relatively normal views and engagement. Then you take a few videos that are sort of below the engagement, and then you take a few videos that are doing better than that account usual sort of real views and engagements. And then you literally compare what the video that got 1 million views, and then maybe that person usually gets 20,000
Right.
views. Why
Sorry,
they got that?
I need to apologize, Mari. Can we get one more question in? Because I literally need to run out of here, jump in a car, and go and pick up my daughter from the train station. So I think I saw one more hand. One, I got a last question, please.
That's okay. It's nothing
No,
urgent.
go on. Go on, there's no, go on. Ask.
I'm trying to remember now the question. Okay, don't worry.
The best thing is this: post your details in the group,
Yeah, you
okay,
can
Mari, into the
post
things, and I'm sure
video
people,
call.
and I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to get you to have a look at our page, okay, because it sort of works ish. People are liking some of the posts, but it's working out why, what they like and what they don't like. But I just post random stuff at the best of times.
Ah,
I
yes,
don't
I
put,
remember now. A quick
all right,
one.
go
And
on.
yeah, so you mentioned earlier, and many times, it's nice people to see behind the scenes and a bit of our life, but privacy becomes a big issue now. Exposing our life on social media. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so obviously you do it in the way that it's comfortable for you. So you can post your home inside, you don't post your home outside, you don't show your house. Maybe don't film when you go outside of your house, maybe film a few streets down. You can choose where, you don't show your home. I think the home is the biggest one, but with
Yeah.
any sort of insecurity or what sort of worry you have. You can pick
I've seen stuff where they talk, you never see them.
Sorry?
They talk, but you never see them.
yeah, faceless. Yeah.
Or just your hands playing the piano. Does that make sense? So you don't actually, yeah. It's all, and again, that just adds to the mystery.
Well, more or
Yeah.
less, because in the end, people, they like to associate the face with whatever you offer.
They
Yeah.
do. But right, guys, I must
Okay,
apologise. So I
thanks.
literally get up and get off. Listen, that was great. I've got a bunch of notes. I will be contacting you to have a definitely need an Instagram MOT, without a doubt. Okay. And I shall, when I get back, guys, I shall zip it up, load it up, and it'll be online this evening at some point when I get back. Okay. When it goes live, I'll put a link onto the WhatsApp group. Okay. Mari, thank you for that. That's really helped me a lot. I'm going to be doing some additional work and hopefully everyone got something out of it. Okay. Right, guys. Same time next week. I think it looks like it's a free for all next week. So it's questions and answers and discussing general things about what we can do to improve our business. Okay. Right, guys.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend, everybody. And I'll see you all the same time next week.
Thanks.
Right then.
Mari,
Bye.
thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.